Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner. How important is it to be able to share the gospel to children in a relevant way? Well, thank you for being part of the programme today. I asked the question about children and sharing the gospel for two reasons. Firstly, my team received an email in response to an episode of Wesley Impact where they talked about child Bible stories and all of that. This is an email from Daniel. Let me read it to you. I've been a Sunday school teacher for the past 8 years at my local church. I've been feeling challenged of late to teach children more Bible stories, but to interpret the stories and their meaning. Wanting to do more. I've shared my feelings with my pastor and a few friends and I've received mixed feedback. Some say I should teach the stories and let the children decide the meaning for themselves. Others advise that I should interpret the stories for children. What do you think of the above? Well, I'm going to stick my neck out and say, I think it's a bit of both. I think we've got to tell the stories because there's no doubt that when Jesus told parables, he let the parables speak powerfully into people's lives. But, you know, sometimes we have to explain a little bit more of what stories mean if we're communicating the good news. And I think that's important too. So, Danielle, a little bit of both. We've got to tell those stories and we've got to have a bit more explanation sometimes of what things mean, because we are living at a very different time, and then allow God to be able to. Remember, God inspired Scripture and God speaks through Scripture, and God is at work not only as it's taught, not only as it's given to people, but as they hear it too. On the theme of sharing God's love with children, I'm also joined in the studio by Graham McDonald from DIDUNO. This is an innovative work that shares Christian stories in a way that is meaningful and relevant to children and adheres to the national school curriculum. Graham has devoted his life to teaching children Christian history, and we'll find out more about that later. Did you know? And all that means a little bit later. We'll also be joined by Deb Ezzy-Walton and the Wesley Impact Band, who will sing Daylight, and I'll continue some thoughts from Matthew's Gospel, looking at what Jesus had to say about hypocrisy. But first, at Wesley Mission, we seek to do all the good we can because every life matters. We've got over 2,000 staff and limited resources at the same time, but the need is much greater than anything we can afford or so many in the Christian sector. To help us in that work, we have well over 3,000 volunteers who work alongside our staff and give their time to make a positive difference in the lives of others. Some volunteers help during their lunch break at Wesley Centre in the Sydney CBD. Others come and help one weekend a month. Others come and volunteer as part of their weekly routine. I and the management team are all too aware that the important role of volunteers and the part it plays in the life of Wesley Mission. And this is one way we can say thank you.
Thank you is such an inadequate word to say to all the people who help at Wesley Fair and at events throughout the year to raise funds for our project each time. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
We have an amazing group of volunteers that help to save lives. I mean, we just wouldn't have a service without them. We wouldn't be able to operate. To you guys, volunteers, thank you so much for being there for Australians at their point of need.
Wesley Connect Food in Care can't happen with just a few people. It happens because we have generous donations from people and also volunteers. Thank you. Keep supporting us at Wesley Connect.
I've got to say a big thank you for all my volunteers for their support. Without them, this could not be possible.
We have wonderful volunteers, 20 on the Central Coast and nearly 100 here at School for Seniors. And if we didn't have them, then we just could not provide the service that we do.
I want to thank all the volunteers. They're just so passionate and caring. They just make the program what it is.
At Wesley Mission in Learning and Development, we use volunteers to assist in our administrative functions. Thank you very much to our Wesley Mission volunteers.
A big hello and a thank you to all our wonderful aunts and uncles out there. You truly are the most amazing people in our communities, an absolute joy for us to work with. Thank you so much for your generosity, your kindness and everything you do for us.
We have some fabulous volunteers who come and work with us. Thank you so much, all my volunteers. Thank you.
We have a huge number of volunteers that come in and help our team. I just want to thank all of our volunteers. The contribution you make is incredible. Thank you.
The cafe is mostly run actually by volunteers. Without the heartful and wonderful support that volunteers give us, we wouldn't be able to operate this cafe. So deep down from my heart, a very big thank you to all our volunteers who donate their time to us.
We have around 13 volunteers at the facilities. Without them, we couldn't do it. We wouldn't be Wesley Tibet without them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would like to learn more about Wesley Mission, visit wesleymission.org.au. You can find help in our community services, connect with our church and congregations, discover a volunteer role that suits you, stay up to date on the latest news and information, donate to support our work, and help make a positive difference in your community. You can also connect with us on social media and subscribe to receive the latest news and information about Wesley Mission directly into your inbox. Visit wesleymission.org.au.
Sweetheart, we can only pick one. Pick your favourite. Look. Come on. I don't know. Anywhere but here.
For some, homelessness is safer than home. 17% of Australia's homeless are aged under 12. Donate today.
Don't forget to visit the website. It's easy to navigate and it'll give you lots of opportunity to learn more about our work and also to be able to follow us on social media. The address and the email is on the screen now, and I look forward to hearing from you if we can be of help to you. Now, I asked the question of reaching children with the gospel in relevant ways because, partly because my guest today has devoted his life to teaching children about the important role that Christianity has played in the development of our country and indeed the world. Welcome, Graham. Lovely to have you.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, look, you're the head of DIDUNO. Tell us what DIDUNO is all about.
DIDUNO is about helping our children understand that many of our forebears have done, who are Christian folk, have done some wonderful things in the development of this country and, as you said, around the world. And here in Australia, education, the trade union movement, the Labor Party, the First Bank, our law, our constitution, all of these institutions or organisations were basically put together with people who are people of faith. So they had a Christian connection, a Christian content in the ethos of them putting those stories together.
And that can't be denied, can it? It's there, it's written in history.
It's history, it's history. And this is where I think, sadly, it's been taken out of our schools because there's, and I'm not understanding all the reasons why, but for some reason we're not allowed to talk about the most well-known person in world history. You Google it in and it comes up as Jesus. And so this Jesus has been a part of the world scene for over 2,000 years, has impacted so many lives, not only in Australia, but in other parts of the world as well.
So that being the situation, we'd like to be able to change everybody's view in Canberra and around the world. We can't always do that.
No,
but what we can do is we can present stories and we can present pictures that awaken people to things they didn't know, can't we?
We certainly can. And I think the other important thing that comes out of what we're doing is that we actually give children role models. If you take a step back and you're an 8-year-old child, you look around, what are the role models that they're presented with? Well, they're not all that healthy. But when they start and read about people like John Cadbury from Cadbury Chocolate, the things he did, David Jones from here in Australia, then they've got role models. They can see why people do these things. John Flynn, who started the Royal Flying Doctor Service.
Do you know, I've got a feeling it's not even now this... We're now 2 and 3 generations back, aren't we, that we're having to deal with the people who are not even aware of these people, you know. When I think of John Flynn, you don't only think of Flying Dots, you think of Frontier Services, you think of the means of being able to teach over the air by those machines. It's phenomenal stories, aren't they, of people?
Incredible stories. And you know, even Sir Robert Menzies, the former Prime Minister, said, you know, we have no idea what debt we owe to somebody like John Flynn for opening up the Outback. And you're right, even the gentleman, Stuart Traeger, who invented the pedal radio.
Yes.
I mean, that just contributed to opening up the whole of Australia in a way that had never ever been seen before.
So how are these stories working, and what are you doing to tell these stories?
Well, what we're doing, we write the stories, and then we send them out one a month, and we encourage people to sign up on our website. They're all for free. And we want parents...
So just remind me, people, if they're interested in this, they can go on your website and sign up and receive these stories.
Yeah, they can sign up and receive the stories. We send out one a month. We've just recently sent out the story of Father's Day. You know, Father's Day is very much a Christian construct.
And on our screen now, we've just seen pictures of the $20 note and all that. Tell us about those things.
Yeah, well, you know, again, on many of our much of our currency, we have these Christian people. On our $20 note, we have the Reverend John Flynn and his story. On the $50 note, we have David Unipin, an Aboriginal man who actually trained and taught the clergy how the dreaming time and the Bible came together.
Sure.
So he did all those things, you know. And then we will in the next couple of weeks be releasing the story of Banjo Patterson, who's on our $10 note. And that story will come out roughly when the new $10 note's going to be released. And so we'll have the story about him and how he was involved, his Christian connection, how he was so involved in the
and people don't choose them because they're Christian. They choose them because they've made such a big impact on our community.
Exactly.
But as a matter of fact, they are Christian, you know, and that's wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, but as I say, and so these are the role models that we want to present to children, and we give them to parents. Hopefully parents can take and go, whoa, you know, we can tell this story to our children about these people.
Graham, we wish you well with this because it's a great project, and we'll make a link to your website, and I hope people will log on at home to that particular correspondence and receive your monthly impact. Let's welcome now Deb Ezzy-Walton and the Wesley Impact Band to sing Daylight.
Promise in the light of your truth. You're the hope that sustains me, always safe here with you. You are here in the valley, you are here in the storm. You're the glory of
Over the years of Wesley Impact, Keith Garner has had hundreds of conversations sharing stories of hope, resilience, love and the Christian faith. Perspectives on Faith and Entertainment is a collection of inspiring and insightful conversations with people who are leaders in their field, including former Queen of Pop, Deborah Byrne, pioneer songwriter Jeff Bullock, children's and country music entertainer Colin Buchanan, Golden Guitar winning duo Carter and Carter, seasoned performer and music mentor Daniel Kay, and renowned worship leader Darlene Check. Each conversation shares a unique perspective on entertainment and collectively presents a broad cross-section of performers and how their faith impacts their lives and others. Perspectives on Faith and Entertainment is the third instalment of a 3-part series and is available now from Wesley Mission. To find out more, contact Wesley Mission on 02 9263 5555 or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Today we meet Jesus Christ warning against hypocrisy. He openly speaks to the disciples and the crowds around, and inevitably through them to us, about the teachers of the law and the Pharisees. So I'm going to read from Matthew 23 and recognise it's not just locked into one particular point in time, but it has a truth that all of us can embrace. Matthew 23, 1 through to 12. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, "The teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must be careful to do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, and themselves are not willing to lift a finger to move them. Everything they do is done for people to see. They make their phylacteries wide and their tassels on their garments long. They love the place of honor at banquets and the most important seats in the synagogues. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces and to be called rabbi by others. But you're not to call them rabbi, for you have only one teacher and you're all brothers. And do not call anyone on earth a father, for you have one Father and he is in heaven. Nor are you to call people, call them instructors, for you have one instructor, the Messiah. The greatest among you will be your servant. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Jesus was very concerned about the people's reaction to what the Pharisees offered to him. He criticised the scribes and the Pharisees for laying burdens upon people. That's what verse 4 says quite clearly. They tie up heavy, cumbersome loads and put them on other people's shoulders, and they themselves are not willing to lift a finger. You know, you have to read this in the light of what we read elsewhere in Matthew's Gospel. Isn't this the exact opposite of what we read in Matthew 11:28? Because it tells us in 11:28, "Come to me, all you are weary and burdened, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you'll find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Well, the one thing that these religious leaders did was they didn't give light burdens to people, they gave heavy burdens. What was the shape of those burdens? Well, they might be in terms of things people had to pay, in terms of the laws they had to follow. True religion, of course, should free us from burdens. It should lift those things that weigh us down. It should make us free. Jesus said you should be free. And when you're free indeed because of what he has done for us. You read that in John chapter 8. And the man at the church door invites a stranger in. But he's got a sour face, and that puts the visitor off. The visitor might say, "I've got enough problems already, don't give me any more." And Jesus is concerned that religion, at its truest, deepest sense, doesn't make life more difficult for people, but gives them a real sense of joy. The issues are very deep for Jesus as he exposes how religion can become a spectacle. This is a hypocrisy. Remember, hypocrisy is play acting. It's putting on something that's not real towards other people. So we read the nature of this hypocrisy. Verse 5, everything they do is done for people to see, loving to be seen. We're not meant to be at centre stage when we're serving Jesus Christ. And so when Jesus questions the hypocrisy of the religious leaders of his day, it has a message for all of us. Using religious externals. It talks about making sure that they love the places of honour at banquets, and they love to be people who express themselves. They have phylacteries that are wide, tassels on their gown. All of this are the externals. And the externals of religion can become, for every one of us, whoever we are and wherever we're from, they can become so much a hindrance to other people. And seeking respect. Oh, they sought respect. They love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces. They love people to recognise them. They love to be the people who say, oh gosh, look at him, look at her. They're very, very important people. And the religious leaders were often like this. These people were doing the exact opposite of what Jesus wanted to be and wanted to offer to his followers. He calls us to a life of humility. He calls us to a life of service, and they wanted to be noticed by other people. In a way, the gospel, within a very short period of time, would be turning the world upside down. But they're turning the world upside down in a way that's unhelpful. They're turning the way of humility that Jesus offered to his disciples and to others into a way that is not there. End of the passage. Here's the key in verse 12 of chapter 23 of Matthew's Gospel. For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted, turning the world upside down, turning it right way on by learning that way of Jesus that makes all the difference. You can just begin to imagine what it meant for those early religious leaders to have Jesus question what it is, what they're doing, and what it is that they presented. They had to be sure that they guarded against hypocrisy. Good word for us today.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A 5555, Sydney South 1235, or you can send us an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on social media. You can also connect through Keith's blog and stay up to date on all the latest news and information from Wesley Mission, wesleymission.org.au.
So do visit us on our website and be in touch if we can be of any help to you, or if you'd like to stay up to date with all the latest information from Wesley Mission. We recently reached a target of 5,000 Facebook followers, which I'm told is one of those online milestones. Thank you for that support. Why don't you join up too and become the next on the move to 6,000 followers? I hope you were encouraged with the conversation with Graham McDonald and that issue of reaching other people, of learning the stories. You see, I don't reckon it's just a story about children. I think so many people in this wonderful country of ours don't really know the stories that have made us who we are, and the characters, the people who we see on our notes, who we see in so many parts of our Australian life. I hope my thoughts on Matthew brought some insight into this topic of hypocrisy. There's nothing interests people more than hypocrisy, you know, but all of us know very well it's so easily a part of our lives, and we need to be released from it. Thank you for being part of the programme. I'm going to look forward to seeing you again next week. And if you'd like to write to me, I'm always delighted to hear from people. There are some people that regularly write, and I try to write back to everyone who does and to give them some contact. So why don't you see us at the same time next week, wherever you're viewing this programme, same time next week, and may God richly bless you.
Wesley Mission supports foster children transitioning into adulthood through Wesley Take Charge of Your Life. To find out more, visit wesleymission.org.au.